But this one, like, there was melodic lines which would echo each.
Oh no, he froze.
Welcome back to Sound Lab Studios. Today's album comes from our good friend Briar's Music Showcase, who won the Sound Lab Studios 75 subscribers contest, and he brings to us Kate Bush, Hounds of Love. So we've been looking forward to this one. Here is Jeremy Duncan and Joseph Snyder here to join me today to review this classic album. How you doing, guys?
Doing
It's
great.
Another day, my brother.
Great. I got my plasma ball here. I thought it would add to the vibe of the video.
I kind of thought
Very
the same
much.
thing too, because I've got my red ring on. It looks a lot like the background of the album.
Yeah.
See, what happens is if you constantly mute and unmute yourself while you're singing, you sound like Kate Bush in half of her songs.
Hey, that's just the 80s, man.
Anyway, any quick thoughts about this album before we delve into it?
It's not exactly a concept album, but there are moments in it where you can tell that it's really strongly evoking imagery.
Yes.
You know, it's
well, I mean,
overall, go ahead, Garrett.
Sorry, but the second side tells a story, but I wouldn't exactly call this album a concept album.
Mhm.
No, not at all. I mean, it's a good album,
Yeah.
but it's not anything like when we looked at The Wall. It's not a linear story, but it's good nonetheless. It's drenched in the 80s. That's what I love about it. You got
very
synths
80s
and vocals and all that ripped from the era.
All right, starting off with the certified banger, our first track on the album is Running Up That Hill, parenthesis, A Deal with God. So
the one that everyone has been playing and talking about since last summer.
Yes.
I love Netflix.
I don't think that we can go through this album without mentioning that this song has received really big plays because of the Netflix original series Stranger Things and its prominent use in the 4th season. Even without Stranger Things, it's still a great song. I hadn't heard it before that, but whenever I was listening to it on the album, I wasn't exactly thinking about Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely see people would like this song without that show.
You see, I'm the opposite. Like, I knew of the song. I didn't know what album it was a part of. And so, like, of course, I'm listening to it, and the first thing that I'm thinking of is Stranger Things, just because you guys know I love that show very much.
Yeah.
But it is still a banger nonetheless.
Yeah, I have not watched the series. I tried to watch the first series of Stranger Things, and I just couldn't get into it. And so I saw the scene with Max and her actually running away from, was it Vecna and all that? Yeah,
that was one of the scenes, because they've used it. I think they used it like 4 times throughout the series. The first time was when she's like levitating in the trailer.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so I really, even though I have seen how it's implemented in Stranger Things, that wasn't my main focus whenever I was listening to this song. It wasn't something that, was in my brain when I listened to the song. Mm. So I have a few observations about the song, if I may. The accompaniment is incredible. It sounds very well. It's 80s, but at the same time, it's high effort for the 80s. If that makes sense,
yes.
Because a lot of the accompaniments for the 80s are just like, But this one, like, there was melodic lines which would echo each.
Oh no, he froze.
Jeremy, we're gonna need you to repeat that in a minute. Your internet cut out.
I'm Jeremy. I love Jethro Tull.
I have a few observations to make lyrically about the song because I know half the people listening to the song haven't really delved into the lyrics of it.
But
Interestingly,
they know it.
the song is about the differences between men and women, and about how if Kate Bush could make a deal with God, she would have God swap her and her boyfriend for a day, so that they could be like, she could be a man for a day and he could be a woman for a day, so they could like understand each other better.
I mean, that does make sense. This came out right next to me. It came out in '85, so this is still part of the, I guess, what you want to call the modern feminist movement. In a way,
Yeah.
that was like part of it, since corporate America was still doing things like less wages for women, even though they're doing the same job as a man. That's just one example I could think of. And then still like specific societal roles in a way. Like I'm sure that's the correct phrase, is societal roles
Yeah.
for men and women, you know.
Also, I
Yeah,
kind of see it as like relationship wise, because like, you know, all these times when like, because we're all guys, we're like, girls are such a mystery to me, and like, I think she wants to be able to like understand each other so they can have a better relationship or something like that.
It depends on the woman,
Yeah.
you know.
Anyway, thumbs up for this song. Really good.
Yeah.
I really like the intro on the keyboard melody, and I know
Yeah,
that the
and
drums are programmed, but they sound cool.
yeah, a lot of synth drums back then.
Yeah.
But this song really kind of shows, like, I think what people really underappreciate with Kate Bush is she's a really good singer.
Mm.
You know, and a song like this really showcases her skills. Like other songs which are more concepty, you don't really hear her vocals that much. But in this one, she's definitely one of those like underrated singers of the 80s. If I throw my hat into the ring with that.
Yeah. And going off what Jeremy said, like some of the intervals used, like even like the do 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 do. I mean, I didn't sing that very well, but like the melody is very well written.
Oh yeah.
And then there's all those weird like vocal effects at the end that kind of add to the atmosphere. Anyway, good song. Any other thoughts on this one before we move to the second one?
Strange things, that's all I've got.
Okay, so the second song is Hounds of Love, the title track.
Which that's interesting why it's not the first track or somewhere towards the end, like normal albums.
This one kind of has an odd time signature to it, is what I noticed about it. And then, of course, like this is gonna keep coming back for all these songs, but I really like the string arrangements on this song.
Yeah. That was definitely a big trend with a lot of 80s music, especially pop music. And Jeremy's gone.
Oh no.
He'll join us again. I'll just go on my spiel until he comes back. But that was a big trend with 80s, especially mid to late 80s with like pop music. Just a lot of two things, synth and strings. And then a little bit of some guitar melody mixed in. But it was mostly that sort of atmospheric sort of vibe, because a lot of things were coming out that were more colorful and more social in a way. Like a lot of music like this would be played in clubs, like nightclubs. A great example, I think, in terms of like the atmosphere would be, if you remember the scene from the first Terminator movie where
Yes.
where Sarah is running away
Used to go
from
into the club.
Terminator. Yeah, club tech noir, that's what they called it. And like an environment like that, that's what was popular back in this time. And so the music was just a company of it, with all those synth and string vibes.
That and Phil Collins found the gated the gated drum sound, which is used in like pretty much every 80s recording that didn't use programmed drums.
Phil Collins pretty much defined the beat of the 80s, if you think about it.
Yes.
But we'll get to Phil another day.
Yeah. Definitely wanting to do some Phil solo and with Genesis.
Yeah, Genesis especially.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great on his own, but there's something different about Genesis, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My favorite Genesis song is I Can Dance. This sounds like a Coldplay song before they were a thing.
There's a lot of songs that are kind of like that.
Mm.
And I don't know why it didn't click with me until I heard him write that or say that, write that, whatever. Yeah, Coldplay is kind of like a modern day 80s band.
I haven't really thought of it like that.
I haven't either. I mean, they've got some great stuff. I love Coldplay.
Anyway,
there's a lot of.
For me, this song is a lot like the other ones. The string arrangement is really good. It's just kind of a happy sounding song. It's really good too.
Yeah. Something I noticed with it, and I'm sure this just goes with her heritage and lineage, but a lot of Irish themes.
Yes, especially when you get
Which-
to like the Jig of Life on the second side.
Yeah. I listened to the last 3 tracks earlier today. Yeah. And you know me, I mean, I'm part Irish, so I love that.
So another really great song. We get to our third track, Mother Stands for Comfort. So this had a
Fourth
lot of like
track.
clangy sound effects in the background. Kind of had some weird synth to it. It's this real moody, atmospheric piece.
Yeah. I think this is another one of those like with the first one talking about like the state of womanhood back then,
Mm.
because I'm looking at the lyrics right now just to have them, and one of them in the second verse says, "Mother stands for comfort. Mother will hide the murderer. Breaks the cage." Kind of shows the strength of womanhood back then.
I think what
Kind
this
of.
song is trying to convey is that mothers love their children no matter what, even if they do these terrible things. Like I think she was talking about like doing something bad, but then her mother is still there. It's like she can basically like get away with murder, but her mom is gonna like defend her even though she's done these bad things. And there's a line in there that has a double meaning. Mother will always be mom.
Will always be mum.
Like mom meaning like my mom, but
Oh
also
yeah,
like
like
keep mom, like
Britain.
not tell anything.
Oh, I never knew that meaning of the word mum.
Yeah, it's
So
a phrase.
it's saying mother will always stay quiet.
Yeah.
Put in there a line, "Mother won't talk to the police." You murdered someone, mom won't talk to them.
Mother should have trust the government.
They'll drop the bomb.
Mother, do you think they'll break?
It sounds so
I'm
much
gonna say
funnier
the next
coming from
line.
the phone. Oh my gosh. It sounds like he's just a random voice in the background. It's like he's a part of the album whenever he's on the phone.
Anyway, Jeremy says that the beat is composed of so many different noises. The song itself is mellow and the synth is soothing. Okay,
Yeah.
Then we get to our final song on side one, Cloud Bursting. So I think this kind of continues with that Irish sounding trend with like the strings, the kind of peppy sound, and like mix that 80s production in with it. This could very well be an 80s Irish folk song.
Pretty much. I'm trying to remember how the song went, but pretty much from what I remember, according to the lyrics anyway, it sounds like just some Irish folk song, which again, I love that. I don't want to say it's a guilty pleasure, but it's a underappreciated pleasure, we'll say. Is Irish folk music.
Anyway, now we're going to get into the really good stuff on this album. I'm going to look it up because side two, there's a name for the suite on side two. It's on the back of the album.
For the suite?
Yeah, all of the songs on side two form a little suite called The Ninth Wave. So all the songs on side two are part of this suite called The Ninth Wave. And there's a poem written on the back of the album. Wave after wave, each mightier than the last, till last a ninth one, gathering half the deep, and full of voices, slowly rose and plunged, roaring all over the wave was in a flame. By Tennyson.
Tennyson. I feel like that's an Irish poem. I'm gonna look that up.
Anyway, the basic storyline of this suite is this woman like drifting off in the middle of the ocean. I think she got in a shipwreck or something, like nearly drowns, and this is kind of her near-death experience. So the first song is called "And Dream of Sheep." So, which is kind of odd because it's a very calming and relaxing song whenever you juxtapose that against the lyrics.
Yeah. Well, it's also like you said, if it's about a woman drowning, then there's also like the calmness of the water
Yeah.
that surrounds the individual.
Jeremy says it.
Go ahead.
Jeremy says it reminds him of something that women's choirs would sing in high school.
I wouldn't know. I just looked this up as well. The Ninth Wave, it's a painting, actually. It's a painting made in 1850 by a Russian painter and mariner named Ivan, I'm going to butcher this last name, Ivazovsky.
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 Ivan Ivazovsky.
Looking at the painting right now, I'm not going to show it on the screen just because it'll look horrible on my phone. But looking at the painting, it even looks like something that would belong on the album cover.
I wonder why they didn't use that.
Copyright? Well, probably not copyright. I don't know. Maybe whoever owns the painting technically wouldn't let her or something like that.
Probably.
I'm not sure how it works with Russian law with media.
Anyway, Under Ice is the next track. Jeremy says it's a beautiful depiction of what sinking into depression is like. The constant drive of the strings of the bass note with the singing of the choir feels relentless. An awesome use of whirly tubes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I did get that sort of vibe from it where it just seemed I know we say the word atmospheric a lot, but atmospheric, and I almost felt like something was caving in,
Yeah. And that's really good text painting because this song is about her like falling into the ocean and like whenever you fall in and like the ice is like freezes on top of you and you like see someone, you have to like dig them out.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this song is about. And like her like inner spirit is crying out like help, and they're just trying to get her out. So that's what this song is about. This next song is very interesting, Waking the Witch.
Yeah, this one's interesting.
Jeremy says, crazy, there's our word again, atmospheric, and feels like Revolution Number 9 or The Trial, like a mix of that, being about a witch on trial and killed.
Yeah, I got vibes of Revolution Number 9 with this one. But like towards the middle of the song, not in the beginning where Ringo just says the number 9. And then it also kind of goes with the look of the album. Like if you think about it, looking at the cover of the album, Kate Bush kind of looks like how most witches in the 80s in films are depicted.
Yeah.
Like appearing more majestic and elegant and beautiful looking, unlike in, let's say, the 50s and 60s.
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, like the Wizard of Oz, or well, not with Glenda, but with the Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah, so just more almost like I know he's technically not a witch, but David Bowie in the Labyrinth. Like kind of like how the Goblin King looks. That's the closest comparison I could think of.
I think that this song is supposed to be about like she's like on trial like in the afterlife, and that like the devil is trying to get her soul. Was what I think
purgatory.
This song's about. And there's like this chanting and this creepy voice. This like I don't remember what it said, but I remember it was saying stuff like I'm gonna get you or something like that, or like your actions have caused you this or something like that. And then there was some Latin chanting at the end,
which usually means the devil.
Yeah. So again, like going with the near-death experience, like it's like she nearly drowned and like is on the edge of 10-minute timer. On the edge of slipping off into the afterlife. But instead of that happening, we get to Watching Me Without You. Jeremy says, this one was
Watching
nice
You
to
Without
listen
Me.
to. I love the sequence where Kate Bush sang higher in 3-note patterns.
Oh yeah. This is the other song that I was thinking of where it just showcases her abilities, man.
Lyrically, I think this is like, because I think there was, you can hear someone like saying like, are you okay? Stuff like that, but it like cuts in and out.
Yeah.
And I think that this is her like spirit standing face to face with her boyfriend who's like trying to revive her.
This is definitely one of the more poetic songs.
Yeah.
You
We
know,
then
some
go-
songs just flow like a poem, and some songs flow more like a ballad. This one's more poetic.
Yes. We then go to the Jig of Life. Jeremy says he likes the note-centered verse, the one-note-centered verse. Says that Kate Bush reminds him of Elvis in this one, and the jig feel is nice.
Of Elvis. Huh. That's interesting, which we'll segue to later. This one, I mean, I like this one. This one is very much that, again, more of that Irish feel. But this, unlike the other ones, this is the only one that, you know how there's those scenes in, let's say you're in an Irish pub in a film, and then you have those people who just clap to the rhythm of the song, you know?
Yes.
That's what I can do with
That's
this song,
exactly
and
what
I
this
love
feels
it.
like.
This just makes me want to have a Guinness in my hand, you know?
He says by Elvis, he just means the expression in her voice is overly stressed.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Anyway, our second to last track is Hello Earth. This is the longest song on the album.
It's the most interesting.
Prominently features a choral chant.
Yeah, this one's the most ominous, I'd
Yeah.
say. Well, between this and Waking the Witch, it would be the most ominous one.
Yeah. I think what's going on here is like she's like, because at first she was observing her boyfriend trying to revive her, and then we have the Jig of Life, which is kind of like her trying to come back alive and not leave yet. I think this is her like floating around Earth and like observing Earth right before she comes back to life. In The Morning Fog, which is our final song. Jeremy says that he likes the mandolin, but the melody didn't really catch much for him.
Yeah, I mean, really the biggest thing that I found with this song is just it's the finale of the story, and so more like rebirth, you know, just that big theme around it. I gotta say, I do think as far as a finale to an album, it compared to other finales that I've heard, it is a little underwhelming, but it's still a good song none the least.
Yeah.
You know, because when I think of like a finale to an album, I think of like a grand finish, you know,
like A Day in the Life.
Yeah, something like A Day in the Life or
The Trial
or The Trial. Gosh, what's another one that I'm thinking of? It lost me.
Eclipse.
I was thinking of
Eclipse from Dark Side of the Moon.
I was trying to think of a Metallica album, but I forget which one I was thinking of. Oh well, it'll come back to me later at the worst time after we're done filming.
That's our big conclusion, and she's just kind of saying like, I'm back alive, and I'm gonna enjoy the time I have with my loved ones even more now, because I have a different look on life. So now we are gonna get to our favorite tracks and our score. So, Jeremy, would you like to send your favorite tracks and your score for this album? And Joseph, you can go ahead and say yours.
Yeah. Let's see. How many are we doing for like favorite tracks?
Just as many as you'd like.
Okay. 5's a good number. I'll try and do 5 every time. So I would say for me, my favorite one might seem a little weird to some people, but the Jig of Life, it's probably my favorite one just because it's got that pubby feel. And like I said, this is the one that I could just have a Guinness to and just hang out. There's that one. So that one's at the top. Second to that would probably be Mother Stands for Comfort. In the middle of the list, just because I kind of feel obligated to have it, but also it is a good song. Running Up That Hill, I feel obligated to have it as a Stranger Things fan. And I feel like if I don't put it on my list, then my friends are going to kill me. But so I'll put it in the middle. And then under that, I'll probably put Waking the Witch just because, I like ominous imagery and ominous sounds just because I'm a horror guy. And then at the bottom of the fifth one, same reason for that ominous feel, but it's just less dark, is Hello Earth. Overall, I mean, it's a good album. It's not one of those albums that I think of immediately when I want to put something on. But if I'm thinking of like great singers from the 80s, I will put on Kate Bush. So I'm going to say that I'll give it an 8 just because it's a good album, but it's just not something I'll immediately go to when I go to my Spotify or look at my albums.
That is fair enough. Jeremy says his favorite songs are Running Up That Hill, Waking the Witch, Cloud Bursting, Under the Ice, and Hello Earth, and he also gives it an 8 out of 10. For me, favorite songs, Running Up That Hill, Hounds of Love, Mother Stands for Comfort, honestly. That one is kind of creepy and cool. Dream of Sheep, Waking the Witch, and Jig of Life. And I am also going to give it an 8 out of 10.
All right, so we're in consensus.
Still a very good album, but like I don't know if it would be like my favorite album, but still like definitely one that I would consider putting in the collection.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And funny enough, I gave Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars an 8 point, or no, that was an 8.25, but it's at least close enough that it's kind of around that area.
We got to do Bowie at some point.
We did Ziggy Stardust already, but there's lots of other. We can redo it though. That was the first episode.
No, it's okay. You've already done it. I'll find another Bowie album.
There, like literally, we can do any other Bowie album.
Do Black Star.
Black Star.
Black Star is great. Black Star is a great album.
Briar, who brought this Kate Bush album today, is a big fan of Black Star. So,
I mean, that was one of those albums. Yeah, we got to do a video on Black Star because there's a lot to talk about.
Anyway, that's going to be all for this week. Be sure and join us sometime pretty soon because the next album review we're going to be doing is the King of Rock and Roll's debut, Elvis Presley.
Elvis.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good night. Elvis has left the building.